A second question often raised, asked of me is, why are the medical costs so expensive in America? Why does it cost so much to go to the hospital and whatnot? I mean, I went to the hospital one time in the U.S., maybe 6 years ago, by the ambulance because of broken ribs. And so I spent maybe 12 hours in the hospital, and I spent the night, because I had to, because they gave me drugs which required me to stay. I wanted to leave. But when I went to the hospital, I think the final bill was $15,000 US. And the treatments is a good example of why insurance costs are so high. Because I received the bill from the hospital for my one stay, and boy, they gave me a lot of treatment. I mean, they had me going here and there. They had doctors coming in and out all the time. You know? But the two things that I actually needed, not all these other tests, not all these other opinions, not all these other treatments. There's only two things I needed for my broken ribs. Water to drink and pain medicine. That's all I needed. But the two treatments that I was not able to receive, water, because there was some risk that I may choke on it somehow. I'm not sure what exactly it was, but I refused to drink water. I had to go to the toilet, and drink out of the sink. And the second was pain pills, because they had to wait, and the hospital had to wait until the 4 minutes or 4 hours expired before I could receive a new dose and take another dose, and required a specialist to come in to make sure I could take pain medication. Seriously. Yeah, that was true. But I received a ton of treatments. And so this is where a lot of the high prices come. It adds up, aspirin at $20 a tab. But then you ask, why is aspirin $20 a tab? Well, why is so many treatments, and why are they raising the prices? Well, I'll tell you, because when I had a car problem, I like the exhaust fell off. I had an old car, like the 60s, and the exhaust fell off. And I was kind of an emergency, so I went to a garage on Saturday. Okay? And this garage is pretty professional, very clean, on the outside. Pretty beautiful. Nobody was greasy and oily, none of the mechanics. And very organized, nice office, all those things you would expect at a doctor's office. But it was, a mechanic, basically. But this garage was primarily making its money in servicing insurance deals. Okay? Insurance companies. And so it was in the interest of this garage to put every little line item and treat the car like they treated me in the hospital, giving it tons of everything that it didn't need, everything. So in the end, I opened the bill for one day, the car was there for a few hours of work. The invoice was like 5 pages of all these, every screw was listed. All these things they did to the car that weren't unnecessary or unwanted. But you see, this garage, it was their best interest, to raise the bill, to do as much as they could, because the insurance company will pay them. You see? Well, then I take this, I had another different problem with the same car. And then, I don't know when, but it was a month later, 2 months later, but I went to a different garage, I found a different garage, and this was some local guy, small garage, and he makes his money not off insurance deals, but by doing a good job and reputation and word of mouth, okay? And that garage, the men are men there, they're dirty guys, they're mechanics, real guys. And, I received the bill at the end for like one fifth of what I expected the price to be for the service after the first experience. I mean, it was like 20% the total cost for a much more complicated job. And the invoice that he gave me was just like one little piece of paper and said service, 2 hours or 3 hours, and here's your bill. You know? So he's working off word of mouth, you know? It's a big difference. He doesn't just send it to the insurance company to be paid. Just, that's a big difference. I think that's the main reason. Somewhere in there, I'm sure the answer lies, you know?